Hello everyone! Can you believe it is day 4 of Self-Love Week already? This week's gone so fast and I've really been enjoying talking to you about all the different things and aspects of self-love, and I hope you've been really enjoying it. Today I have so much to cover. We're talking about the magic of micro wins and how small wins can create big self-love. Now, micro wins are tiny victories that we often overlook in our days, and especially when it comes to building self-love and happiness. So I've actually got some notes I'm going to be referring to today because there's so much to cover. I didn't want to miss anything. So if you see me looking down, I am going to cover it all from my notes, and that way I'll be concise and not keep you here all day as well without missing anything. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about 10 different ways that micro wins can help you build self-love. Excuse me. So the first one is about rewiring your brain for positivity. Unfortunately, our brains have a natural negativity bias, but we can change that. We can rewire the way that we are more prone to think. So celebrating small wins of self-love during the day helps to trigger dopamine, the feel-good brain chemical. Now, over time, this is going to rewire your brain to focus on success, happiness, things that bring you joy, rather than self-criticism, which is the way that we're often more inclined to think. Number 2 is to silence that inner critic in your brain. So instead of thinking, I didn't do enough today. Now, I have been guilty of that over my life far too often. I'm very much a type A achiever sort of personality, and I would often write myself ridiculously long to-do lists, and I'm getting better at it. I feel like I am a recovering listaholic, and instead of doing that where I'm focusing on, oh, I didn't do enough today, and if you're like me, you might want to focus on it this way instead, where you can focus on all the things that you did achieve and be proud of what you've achieved. You can actually do it as a done list instead of a to-do list. That often helps me. And each small win that you celebrate throughout the day is proof that you're showing up for yourself, which leads to item number 3, creating momentum for bigger goals. So have you ever noticed how one small accomplishment makes you want to do more? I really noticed this when I did it. Actually, it was a end of day office tidy up challenge. I would often walk out of the office with it looking like a bomb had hit it, mess on every surface around me. And I'd walk back in the morning and feel a little overwhelmed and didn't know where to start, and I just felt like the mess was really weighing me down. So I started this little challenge where at the end of the day I couldn't leave the office. I'd set myself a timer for 2 minutes, and I couldn't leave the office until I'd done 2 minutes of tidying up. And invariably I would get to the end of 2 minutes and feel like, oh, I'm nearly done. I would just finish it up, and it would only take like an extra minute. But because I wasn't telling myself I can't leave the office until it's done, I just set myself the fun of, all right, how much can I do in 2 minutes? And it just shifted the way that I was thinking about the chore. So that's something that you could think about in creating momentum towards a bigger goal. Because I only gave myself a goal of 2 minutes, and I could stop at the end of 2 minutes, I could celebrate that I'd achieved it at the end of 2 minutes wherever I got to. Usually it gave me the momentum I needed to complete the tidy up, and it only took a few minutes, but it was just the way I was thinking about it. So that leads us into number 4, because boosting confidence and self-worth is a big aspect of this micro wins philosophy to self-care. Because when you acknowledge small acts of self-care, you reinforce that you deserve love and care. And every little win, like a hydration win, a movement win, a mindset win, silencing your inner critic win. Any little win that you feel you really need to focus on for your self-care is to be celebrated. And then that is going to boost your confidence. So, which also then leads us into step number 5, or point number 5, making self-care feel doable. I think sometimes, depending on where you're at mentally, sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming. Just yet another thing to add to the to-do list, to trying to look after yourself, as if you don't have enough other things to do. And when you break it down into really tiny micro wins and tiny actions, it does feel so much more achievable. So when you're trying to make it feel achievable and trying to build up to doing those micro wins and the celebrations, this sort of leads straight into point number 6, which is training your reticular activating system. So the reticular activating system is actually a bundle of nerve fibers in the base of your brain at the top of your spine. And it acts like your inner Google. Some of you have heard me talk about it this way before. But it helps you to filter out the things from the environment that are important to you. So by celebrating micro wins, you're training your brain that you are important, that you are worthy of time, care, love, and attention. And too often we put ourselves last. So we want to be training that reticular activating system to rethink and to reprioritize. One of the great ways that you can do this to train your reticular activating system is to also use the power of the feel-good hormones and feel-good chemicals in your life. Now, when you do something that is a micro win towards a larger self-care goal, so it could be that you've completed your bottle of water for the morning, so you're on track for your maximum hydration for the day. Give yourself a reward. So how you reward yourself is up to you. Here are some suggestions that I've tried over the years. So, because in our society, we are trained by our education system that a tick or a sticker are really good things. And you'll be surprised when you give yourself a tick or a sticker, you are going to feel that rush of dopamine. Now, where you put them is up to you. Over the time, I've tried different things. So sometimes I've created myself a little sticker chart with 100 squares, and I put a little sticker in every time I do it, and then a bigger reward for myself when I've completed the 100 squares. So if you're going to be celebrating micro wins, you want to be celebrating often throughout the day, and that can be a fun way to do it. And by just seeing it accumulate. I went and bought these little tiny stickers. These are stars. I'm actually looking for hearts as well. I haven't found any yet, but I know they're out there. I've had them in the past. And in the little square, put in a little sticker. If you don't have stickers, don't wait till you find some. Start with a tick. It's going to be really positive too. If you can't be bothered setting up a little chart like that, then you can do the same thing in your planner, your diary, your calendar. Give yourself a little tick or put up a little sticker every time you achieve a micro win related to your self-care. So that is going to be a powerful tool to train your reticular activating system. Now, if you really loved our dance party suggestion from Tuesday, our movement celebration day, then you could give yourself just a little dance break when you do it. Like seriously, 10-second dance break to your favorite song is also going to give you a boost of dopamine to be really powerfully training your reticular activating system, that this is something that we want more of. And it's going to really help train your brain to be on your side for positivity, on your side to reduce self-criticism, and on your side for increasing acts of self-love. So that is a really powerful tool to be helping in this process. We also really want to be, moving on to point number 7, is to be focusing on progress over perfection. Now, I'm a recovering perfectionist, and you don't want to know how long I was working on my book before I decided it's good enough, we're going to publish it. And that for me was an act of self-care. Is it perfect? No. Could I keep improving it? Yes. But is it going to make a difference in people's lives now? Yes. So I let it go out into the world, and that is partly an act of self-love for myself. And perfectionists like me, maybe you, often feel like nothing's ever enough. And I want to caution you, when you are focusing on self-care, that sometimes that aspect of your personality could step in if you do have a streak of that. Not everybody does, but if you do, then I'm talking to you in this part. Progress is the key to self-love, not perfection. And it's about the concept that self-love isn't an all or nothing game. And that's the trap that we fall into. Remember, we spoke about on Movement Day that if you can't fit in an hour to go and do a workout at the gym, it doesn't mean you can't do anything. You may be able to do a bit of yoga at home. You may be able to just go for a walk around the block. And that is progress over perfection. And we can apply that to every aspect of self-care and self-love. So some little action of self-care is better than nothing. And this really applies to if your act of self-care to yourself, you know that you really need to apply it to eating better, then this is where that is really, really important concept. Because I know that it's so easy when you're trying to be good and then you just weaken and you binge out on something. And then you feel like, well, I've fallen off the bandwagon, I might as well just keep eating rubbish all day. And I know that some of you are going to identify with that, and you feel like, it's too bad, it's too late, I've ruined it today, I'm just going to treat myself all day. And that's where this concept can be really powerful, because if you have the approach that, okay, so I maybe didn't do so well at lunchtime, but it's okay to celebrate because I'm making a good choice and I'm having a salad before dinner. And it's not an all or nothing thing. One poor food choice in a day doesn't mean the whole day is lost. And that's where this concept of self-love and progress over perfection can make a really big shift in how you are viewing the areas of your self-love that you know need attention, whether it's exercise, eating better, drinking more. There's so many aspects of self-love. Acknowledging that it's okay to say no to things, and if you're not saying no as much as you want, it's okay to celebrate for yourself when you do get the courage to say no to something. So I hope that concept resonates with you in some way. Now, the other thing is, I love this one too, learning how to celebrate what we call non-scale wins. So it's not necessarily just related to a physical scale. If weight loss, for example, is your self-care goal, it's also the followers on Facebook. It's also how much money you're earning. Any of those things that are quantifiable that you might often tend to focus on. Self-care is about learning that it's okay to focus on how you feel, not just on the metrics that we're trained in society to measure. And by celebrating a day where you felt good and where you did achieve some self-love wins is really, really important. Now, I wanted to show you something that's been a really powerful tool for me of recent times. And I've just started a new one, but this is what I call a joy jar. And a year of joy, it says on mine. You can write whatever you want on here. It could be your self-love jar. It could be your positivity jar. Whatever resonates with you. Go and find a jar. Doesn't even have to have anything written on it. you could put stickers on it. Whatever. Just some place that you can accumulate your self-love wins. And how you structure it is a little personal, but some suggestions for you are that you could, like I've just got little booklets of paper to write on, and it's really just a raffle ticket size because you can tear off. So it's not overwhelming. You don't have to write much because if it's too big, you won't do it. One thing per day. And because this is a self-love jar, I'd encourage you to write on your little raffle ticket for yourself some win you had through the day. Right, my hydration was on point today, or I went for a 10-minute walk even when I didn't feel like it today, or I chose better food even after falling off the wagon earlier in the day. Whatever your focus is, it's such a personal thing, self-love. But whatever it is, choose something to celebrate because this is going to really turbocharge your progress, build momentum, powerfully train your reticular activating system. It is such a beautiful, beautiful concept and very, very powerful. And then on those days when you're feeling a bit down and a bit flat, you can go back and get out the ones that you've already written for yourself and remind yourself. Now, I actually do a date on mine because I like to track, what has been happening, what I've been doing. Hang on, I'll find a nice one. Here we go. Very grateful for our pool, and I did some laps today even when I was feeling tired. My focus is to really get back on track with my fitness. So that's just an example for you. You can also use this concept and relate it to gratitude, which is something we'll talk about in a great deal of detail on another day. But you can also make this a gratitude practice. But for the purposes of right now and celebrating self-love, I'd really encourage you to create a self-love jar, and it's really, really beautiful practice to celebrate. Now, I want to finish with point 10, and I did a course about ancient philosophers and what we can learn from ancient philosophers who've been trying to teach throughout the ages about self-love, basically. And I've come across two, Epicurus and Marcus Aurelius, so Greek and Roman. And every different culture has them. Ancient Chinese philosophers have similar philosophies. And it boils down to the key to happiness is in finding magic in the mundane. How you show up for yourself and others, and how you can find joy in the day-to-day activities. And whether that's through a mindfulness practice, whether it's through finding ways to celebrate self-love, but that is what ancient philosophers have been trying to teach us for centuries. That is the key to happiness. So, what small, beautiful moment is going to make you smile today? What are you going to do for yourself? What micro win are you going to celebrate today? And I've got a few sparkler challenges for you to think about today to really reinforce these concepts. You've got the done list instead of a to-do list, particularly for those perfectionists out there that I'm talking to. You might choose to start a jar of joy or a self-love jar and write down just a win from your day. something that you did for you that was a micro win that you can celebrate. Or you could celebrate like a rock star and start your little sticker chart, your tick chart, your dance party every time you have a micro win. So think about which one or all of those you're going to try and start celebrating your micro wins, because they add up to big momentum and they can really help you change how you feel about yourself, how you show up for yourself, and can really turbocharge your self-love. So I hope there's something from today that has inspired you to take action. And tomorrow I am going to do a little bit of a summary of what we've learned, add in a couple of extra hints and tips for self-love, and it is finally the big launch of my book. So I'm very excited about tomorrow, and I hope to see you here live or catching the replay. And thank you for being part of this journey and this community that we're building here in the Glitter Collective. Okay, bye.